All right, guys. So this evening we have Travis Gienger with us, and we're glad to have him. We were going to have Randall from Extreme Gardening join us, but Randall had some unfortunate accidents that had occurred to him, and he was not able to join us. And so Extreme Gardening won't be here this evening, but we will be back at the end of the season or close to the end of the season, September 26th. It'll be me, Randall, and Travis, and we'll kind of do a wrap up of our season and how everything has went. But we wanted to go on ahead and give you guys a brief little overview of how our mid-season is. Of course, it's not much of a mid-season for me, but Travis looks like he's doing pretty good with that big, pretty pumpkin he's got up there. It's kind of a blob-looking thing. I like the look and shape of it. So,
Yeah,
so how's your season going, man?
that was kind of funny you mentioned that. My neighbor came over today, and it was kind of covered up, but you could kind of see it a little bit. And he
Right?
goes, "Is that two pumpkins or is that one pumpkin?"
That's
But
funny.
I had to break it to him that it was only one.
Right. So how's your season going? I know before we got on here, we were talking, and it's not been a very good one for
Yeah,
me.
we really can't complain about our days at all. I mean, our days have been right there, besides maybe a couple few, but it's that evening temp that's just killing it. I mean, 40s,
Yep.
50s, and finally we got a decent stretch here. But I mean, I was growing 60 some odd pounds a day from like right around that July 4th when we had all that heat, and
Right.
then it sustained for a little bit, and then with 44 degrees at night, like it was almost impossible. But it was still growing 50 plus a day, and I mean, it still is.
Yeah.
So
You can't
you
complain
can't,
about that.
yeah, you can't really complain. So it is what it is. We'll see if we break any records, but
Right. So you've grown the 2350, you grew the 2560. How is this in comparison to that, or do you want to give that away?
so I'm still ahead of all those numbers, but I also pollinated a little bit earlier. So I would say day to day wise, I'm about 50 pounds behind. Um,
Okay.
but again, with this warm stretch coming up in 2 weeks, I'll know what
Okay.
my
That'd be
final
good.
weight
How
should.
much is the fire in Canada, the smoke? How much is that affecting you down there, or up there rather?
I guess I can't really tell. A lot of guys will complain about that and whatnot, but to me, some of the super hot days, it was kind of nice because it didn't get overly leaf scorching heat. But
Right.
I do think it does have some degree of effect because yeah, it's definitely smoky, air quality, whatever.
I've
But
noticed some weird looking leaves on some of mine, and I thought it was something I was doing, fertilizer burn, or God forbid, some kind of yellow vine disease, some kind of cute beetles, because we had them really bad here this spring. But then I read that it was due to the smoke and the UV rays and stuff, kind of damaging some of those leaves. You notice any of your leaves getting that weird looking burn to them at all?
yes, now that you mention that, I've kind of been fighting a lot of bugs this year, and I did it in 21 where Chris Brown actually came over and was like, "Hey, you gonna do anything about those bug holes or anything?" And I didn't, but my chemical was all old. It had sat throughout the winter, but I've been kind of fighting them this year, but
Right.
we'll see. So yeah, that's that, and then just been pouring on the biology and focusing on my plants, not so much my pumpkins right now, but
Awesome. For some reason, my camera went out. I don't know why, but it is what it is. Um, well, I mean, that I'm glad that I'm not the only one getting some burn on my leaves from that stuff. So, how are you using the extreme, or right now in this part of the season?
so right now I'm doing a biological drench just about every day or twice a day if I can. Um, and I'll actually just take the Azos powder and put it in a barrel, mix it in, along with maybe if I get a lot of rain, I'll use some cal carb here and there with some sprays. But pretty much I'll use that, and then in my vine burying mix with my gardening mix that I put in. So I put about 30 yards on so far this year of vine bearing mix between two plants,
Okay.
which is a lot.
Yeah, that's a
I
lot.
But every time I bury, it's like a yard and a half.
Right. So I'm trying something new this year because I had heard several people say that, some of these guys were growing over 2,000 pounds and they never buried a vine. And so I said, well, you know what? I am kind of flooded, for time. I'm trying to stretch out kind of so far. I said, I'm just going to see how it goes, because here's the other part too. Last year, it got really, really wet and it rotted my vines. Right. And I had such a horrible time. And then trying to go in there and wash it off, or whatever you want to call it, trying to get that dirt back off of those vines. I really found it was kind of hard to do. Right. So I said, well, this year, what I'll do is I'll try to just leave them unburied, see how they do, see how the pumpkins react, and see how it goes. And then I'm just going and every so often applying more of those Mycos, Azos, and Versity down at the roots, but I didn't bury anything. But I'm still feeding right there in the root zone. So I just don't have that secondary root coming off of the top. I have the tap roots coming off the bottom. So hopefully we'll see, some good growth. Got some good growth. I was telling you about it. Don't want to give anything away here, but I was kind of happy with that day 15. I thought that was pretty good for a day 15 setting at that weight. And so hopefully it'll continue to grow and we'll be able to break some records. That'd be nice. I don't know what is your, I don't know. Can you tell me what your typical day 15 looks like? Yeah. Okay. All right. So I was doing really good then. So that makes me happy. That makes me happy. Let's just hope that it'll sustain the growth. Let's just keep going, baby. So right now, if guys are, we're seeing pictures all over online. We have got a whole swath of pictures. You got some guys that have only got baseball size, softball size pumpkins. You've got other guys that are 500-600 pounds already, somewhere around in there. What is the key to growing right now, no matter what stage you're at?
I personally think it's don't worry about your pumpkin so much and focus on your plant a little bit more. And so many guys are out of space right now. I see tons of posts going, oh yeah, I'm almost full. I don't like to hear those words.
Right.
Okay? That's just me.
Right.
To me, I'm never out of space. I got asked the other day, they're like, yeah, so you got all your vines trimmed at, day 30? I'm like, how about 70, 80, 90? But that's just me.
Right.
I think a lot of these guys are like, okay, I trim everything back, get that early growth. And I just don't think that's the key. I mean, they lock themselves into 1,000 square foot, and I've got a 2,000 square foot area for each plant, and I'm growing outside of that right now. But I don't have all that 2,000 filled in. I'm just growing outside of it because that's the way the vines are.
I'm having issues here. All right. Sorry, man. What is it now? 2,000 square feet. I think you were getting ready to say.
Yeah. So I'm just focusing on wherever I can extend that vine. But yeah, that's all I'm doing.
Okay. Because I'm glad you said that, because we do have over here the Pumpkin Club, still focusing on the plant. When will you ever be fully terminated?
I'm hoping never, but no, I would say last year it was like right around September 10th, 15th, I was fully terminated.
Okay. September 15th, you were full. See, I always end up letting tertiaries fill in. You know what I mean? I'll take specific secondaries, not all. I'll have a few of secondaries picked out, and I'll say, okay, these are ones that I'm going to use to fill in all the dead growth, old growth as the season progresses. And then I'll just take those tertiaries and fill in the gaps, you know what I mean? So that because just as well as I do, there's going to be leaves that get old. They're going to be burnt. They're going to be toast. They're done. You got to go in there. You got to trim those out, get it cleaned up, keep it cleaned up. But you still need those solar panels. So you got to go in there and, you got to get your growth from somewhere. If you're fully terminated on all your secondaries, you have to depend on tertiary growth, kind of fill those voids in. So I always pick a couple secondaries and say, okay, those are the secondaries I'm going to use to have tertiary growth on and fill up my voids from the old growth. So do you do anything like that, or how do you?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny you mentioned tertiaries. Both my pumpkins are growing on a tertiary right now. Still doing over 50 pounds a day on both of them.
Wow.
We've got about 1,200 and the others probably 8 something. But yeah, so think about that next time you cut your tertiaries off.
Yeah, there you go. That is insane. I mean, because most people would have been like, oh, I hate growing on a secondary. I only want to grow on the main, right? And here you are growing pumpkins on tertiaries and have got 8 to 1,200 pound pumpkins.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts to think about, but I've always said buying patterns don't matter. Just grow your plant big and it'll find its way.
There you go.
Ruben the other day posted up that he cut off the first half of his plant all before the pumpkin, and then after the pumpkin, didn't fertilize it, didn't do anything, and he just kind of left it, and it grew 150 pounds in not a long time. So
right,
yeah,
that's crazy, ain't it? I always think it's very weird how these pumpkins can just kind of find their way and grow to the sizes they grow. And, there's so much out there, Florel, all kinds of different stuff, right? I mean, just nut stuff. And I really think that at the end of the day, it's really just kind of, how well you took care of the plant. Not really about any kind of hormone specifically. I think it's more how the soil was, how the plant was kept, and how healthy you kept it the whole season. And I think extreme gardening products help us do that, right? They help us keep that soil healthy. They help us keep the plant healthy, and nutrients pumping into the plant, right? Because without those microbes, you're not going to get really good uptake.
Yeah, I haven't used any fungicides this year besides maybe you could argue the TKO, but that's more of a phosphite than anything. So I very, little in the disease category. It's all just been throwing biology at it, which I could get burnt just like anyone else, but right now it's doing pretty well.
Right. And I'm the same way. I have not really fertilized much. I have gave a little bit of food here and there. I have not give any kind of disease treatment to the plants yet. I did have to give some imidacloprid and some other things to kill the pestilence. These bugs were all over us, man, and it didn't matter what I was doing. I had to nuke them. But other than just continuously pumping the Versity, the Azos, and the Mycos, I've not really fertilized heavy this year. I did all my pre-treatment to the soil, amended it well, and basically those plants and those pumpkins are living mostly off of what I done then. I give compost tea 2-3 times a week with Azos, Mycos, Versity in it, and then the rest of the time I might fertilize once every 2 weeks. If the plants are looking kind of meh, like, okay, yeah, they're a little cupped up or, looking a little light green, I'll give them a little something to eat on, but for the most part, I'm just sitting on cruise control.
Yeah, that's one thing that I noticed big time this year with using just a crazy amount of biology. And I'm not talking just some Azos and Mycos. I mean, we're throwing quite a bit of XTREME at it, but I'm throwing quite a bit of other stuff too. Long story short, you just touch that plant with some fertilizer and it'll give you times 10 what you're used to.
Right. And you're right. It will. Cause, like I said, I've been out here using that stuff on everything, and I have noticed tremendous gains. I've got a rutabaga that if it continues to grow, it's almost filled in a 24 by 24 grow bed.
Dang.
Yeah. So if it continues to grow, it's really wide, but it ain't gotten tall yet. So if it gets tall and matches that width, I will probably be very close to the new world record for a rutabaga, and that's pretty
Nice.
exciting stuff.
Yeah, I got my sunflower experiment going, and that's kind of neat. I've just been throwing a ton of biology at that thing, and the stock is just massive.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's really cool. I planted some sunflowers, and they, for whatever reason, like two different rows, they were all the same sunflowers. Planted them all. The only thing I did was I kind of put them in four by four spots, right? 4 foot by 4 foot blocks or 5 by 5s. And I wanted to kind of make like this pattern in these blocks around a raised bed that I have, and the top ones came in, the top half of the bed or the patch came in, but the bottom half for some reason did not, and I don't know why. So I got to kind of go out there and rethink the sunflower patch again. But yeah, my sunflowers, I was hoping to continue to push that state record up, because last year I grew the state record and I wanted to continue to push that a little further up. But if they don't come up and start doing something soon, we're going to be running out of time, because it seems like the summer has just gone by so fast.
It has, yeah. It feels slow to me because I bury vines every, well, few days now.
That's funny. So,
But
if everything goes good, are you going back out to California this year?
we'll see. I don't know. I think there'll be some guys with some big ones. To be honest, it's the reason why I knew we needed a greenhouse, and I was kind of working on one, but I don't know, kind of getting burnt out on a lot of things right now. Just, you know,
I just don't have that drive either myself this year.
I mean,
I'm
I
having to kick
do. It's
myself.
just, there's so many factors that are out of your control, you know,
Yep.
like, do you got the pumpkin shape? I don't know. In
Right.
21, I didn't. There wasn't nothing you could do. Like, you're going to kill your pumpkin.
Right.
So you can spend, I mean, I bet I've got 13 grand in resources tied up in each plant,
Right.
which is insane to think about. But if they go down, they go down. So
Yep.
that's growing. But I, my rant is, these things take more time than any human being has. Okay.
Yep.
You cannot physically sit there and grow 3 plants the way you should and have a life. Just
That's
not going
true.
to happen. The way you
That's
should.
very
I'm
true.
not talking just, okay, I'm going to grow a little 2,000 pounder. I'm talking the next level. Okay. Um, these things need fertilizers. They need bearing. They need everything. And to do it right, you have to sacrifice life, family, friends, business. And I don't know if I'm ready for that.
I'm glad. I'm very thankful you brought that up. I'm very thankful you brought that up, because here I am, a third year grower, and I'm kind of struggling with this. Yeah, I like the hobby. It's kind of fun. I enjoy some of the aspects of it. Other aspects can just kick rocks because I absolutely despise it. But the one thing that I noticed is time. And my kids are growing up. If I'm out there in my patch, all the time, literally, when you're growing 10 plants, you're out there all day, every day, and then you're growing a garden on top of it. You have no time. You have no life to do anything. And so I made a conscious decision this year to say, you know what? It's going to be what it's going to be. I'm going to enjoy the kids. I'm going to go fishing with them. I'm going to at least take one day, if not more, dedicate it to them and to the family. And if the pumpkins grow, they grow. If they don't, fine. I don't care. If they get full of weeds, whatever, I'll get them when I get them. But you know what? At the end of the day, you only live once, and family is the most important thing there is. And I'm not willing to sacrifice missing out on my little ones to grow a stupid pumpkin or any other stupid fruit or vegetable.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, and it's just, at what cost are we doing this? Like, people think like, oh my gosh, that Travis, he does it all the time. It's just clockwork. Well, you don't see the behind the scenes stuff that I go through to get these to the end, and some years you just might not. But I don't know. It's tough.
It
Like
is.
we can only try, and I think it's going to take a very climate controlled ordeal to get to where we want to be.
Right. Something like what the patents have.
Yep, absolutely. Like my growth curve, I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong. Anyone would say, okay, that's awesome. But I'm not happy with it. Like,
But I think too, to be fair, I think if there ever comes that time where we have so many growing in greenhouses versus growing outside, the pumpkin community is going to have to take a step back and say, hey, these are two different growers. They're two different growing conditions. They're two different growers, and we're going to have to class them differently. And
yeah.
way-offs are going to have to change. Way-offs are going to have to be, if you grew in a greenhouse, you're weighed this way. If you're grown, and you compete against the guys grown in a greenhouse. You know what I mean? If you grow outdoors.
It's tough. I mean,
right.
Yeah, you really, it's hard to compete. But
exactly.
The people in the U.S. right now just don't have it figured out like the guys overseas. But boy, the first guy who does is going to just rock it, because there's nothing like, I just got told today, it was like, look at Ron's plant, look at my plant. We get both crazy good growth right away. And there's a reason why. I mean, I keep mine in a greenhouse as long as I can, and then boom, I'm at the mercy. But it doesn't take long to outgrow that hoop house, no matter how big it is.
Right. I mean, you're right. The guy, I think the first person that really figures it out down to a science is going to have it. When the Dan Sutherland of Giant Pumpkins comes along and can consistently throw down 3,000-pound pumpkins, that's going to be the guy that's got it figured out, right? Because Dan's putting up tomatoes, he's breaking world records and just throwing them in the trash. He's just like, here's another 13-pounder. Here's another 13-pounder. I can do this all day long. I love Dan. That dude is a superhero to me, right?
Yeah.
But as soon as we get it figured out for the Giant Pumpkins, there's going to be a Dan Sutherland of the Giant Pumpkins, and they're going to have it all figured out. And you're right, they're just going to consistently throw it, and it's going to be easy for them,
Yep.
So I don't know when that day will come. It might come next year. It might come 10 years from now, but it will come.
But to have that setup, RC, like you just said, I mean, you're talking. Well, I just got a quote. It was 42,000 some odd for my greenhouse.
Right.
Auto roll up sides, you name it. I think we were 70 by 50. No, it was shorter than that, 70 by 40. But,
right.
Okay, so 42 grand there, and then all your resources on top of it, your fertilizers, your this, that. I mean,
yeah, that's a pile of money.
Yeah, $60K for 2 plants.
Yeah, and you don't recoup that money in 1 year.
No. And nor will you probably ever, because you're just
Right, and all for a hobby.
Yeah, right, and that's the key word right there. It's hobby. As
right.
much YouTube and whatever as you can do, it ain't a career. It's a hobby. Until they start paying 100 grand at the way-offs, okay, then we could say it's a career. But it's not a career. It's a hobby. So it's not like NASCAR racing where you can go out and make $1 million. You're doing it because you love it, and that's the deal. But
right.
To sacrifice our businesses, family, whatever for a pump. Yeah.
Right. Well, and too, I'm glad you also brought that up, because you're $60K to grow a giant pumpkin in a greenhouse, right? What could you do with that $60K that involved your entire family?
Right.
You know what I mean? I could go buy an RV, travel across the country, and get to see some of the most amazing things that America has to offer with that kind of money. You know what I mean? As opposed to me just putting together something and growing a giant pumpkin.
Yeah, and then you could haul your giant pumpkin in the back of the RV too and go across the country.
Yeah, I guess I could do that, and then charge people to take pictures with it.
There you go,
and make up some money, right? Make some money along the way. That'd always be nice. But I mean, there's a lot of things to look at. You're not the only one, though. I can tell you, me and you, we're not the only ones thinking about this. There's been several growers that have reached out to me this year, hey, where's the pumpkin videos at? Well, they're growing, they're there. I just choose not to show them. I just choose not to say much about them, and I'd rather spend time with the family this year. And then when I mention something like that, or they see the videos that I'm posting is mostly of that, they're like, I really got to think about growing next year because this hobby is just a stupid hobby, and I'm not taking care of my family, or I'm not taking care of a homestead, or I'm not doing this or not doing that because I'm so tied up with these pumpkins. So it's not just me and you thinking about this. There is several other guys really taking a hard look at this and saying it's not worth it.
Well, and then, too, you just mentioned that, and it's like, and I don't want to talk negatively about pumpkin growing. I mean, it's great, it's an awesome sport, whatever. But where we need to be, where we need to get to, 3,000, it just takes a lot. Like, I'm stuck at, like, no one goes into their season going, I just want to grow, not get a personal best. No, everyone wants to get their personal best, right? Like,
Absolutely.
you wouldn't start the season and go, I'm going to put all this money into it, time, resources, and not grow personal best. My personal best happens to be the North American record. So I want to beat that. So I know what I
Right.
did last year. I have to improve upon that. Well, then you just you're definitely spending some time, and
Right.
it takes a lot. And at what cost? So yeah, we'll see.
I agree, man. I agree. It's just for all the fun it is a very stressful, uncontrolled, because we can't control what goes on outside. There's nothing, we can't control the deer, we can't control mice, we can't control the weather. There's nothing we can do to control it. We stress about it all season long. We're out there, for hours on end, and I think it's taking a toll on us. It takes a toll on the family too.
Yeah.
So unless we're old retired men, that don't have kids at home, uh, it may be time to just say, hey, you know what? I take a couple 1,000 pounders here and there just to play around and have fun pictures with the kids, and I leave the giant growing to those that are willing to sacrifice more than me. You know.
Yep. Yeah, and there's some easier things to grow too. I mean, since we're just on the channel, it's like there's a ton of things like sunflowers. They're pretty easy to grow. I mean, there's some other vegetables that are just easy to grow. So
Yep.
and they're fun.
Rutabaga,
Yeah,
carrots, all those things, or root crops are super simple to grow as long as you give them boron and help make sure that they don't have any kind of center rot disease, and you make sure that they're not getting overwatered and they got good sandy soil, it drains well. Root crops are fun, easy way to grow. Just the heat gets to them. You know what I mean? The heat will kind of stop that growth. I was getting over 2 inches of growth a day in circumference on that rutabaga, and once the heat started turning up, it's down to about an inch. Around 3/4 to an inch a day now. It's still good growth, but it's not like it was. So there's tons of sunflowers, watermelons are kind of borderline pumpkin stress. You know what I mean? But cantaloupes are fun and easy to grow. Field pumpkins are fun and easy to grow. Marrows are fun and easy to grow. So there's a ton of other giant varieties out there that are fun, easy to grow. They don't take up as much room or as much time as a giant pumpkin does. So yeah, then maybe we have to focus our efforts elsewhere. Yeah.
yeah. I think that's pretty good advice. But a lot of people are just happy growing 1,000 pounder, 500, whatever, and that's fun. You know.
Yeah, it is. That's a lot of fun. I mean, it is a lot of fun. It's just like you said, how much you willing to sacrifice and stuff. So, but so is there any kind of recommendation or anything you think anybody should be doing right now to try to get to their goal?
Yeah, I mean, if your goal's a big pumpkin right now, I mean, now's the time of year where you better be watering if it's warm and, kind of watching that and um, definitely hitting it with your fertilizers and biology as much as you can and just kind of keep watching your plant and let it do its thing. Watch your pumpkin for stress. Um, I haven't even trimmed off my taproot on my vine yet. I should probably do that.
Hey, Bubba's dirty socks. You got to
Yeah, I
use Bubba's
haven't
dirty
trimmed
socks.
my blossom ending is sunken in about a foot. So
Oh my gosh.
there's some things that I need to do too. So
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I promised you I wouldn't keep you long, and we've been on here for 30 minutes. I think it's going to be good for us. Um, but I do appreciate your time this evening. And on the 26th, we'll see how big we got. We'll see how close you are. Yeah.
I'll see if I got anything at the end. Well, I don't know.
Right.
A weird day.
I know what you mean. So yeah, we'll see what you got going on whenever the 26th of September rolls around. Hopefully you'll have something really close to beating the North American state record or the North American record again. So that would be pretty cool. We'd like to see a 2,600 pounder here.
Yeah. I think that's going to be what it takes at least this year. So
all right. Well, look, I'm going to let you go, and then I'm going to finish up this little episode real quick, and I'll catch you on the 26th, Travis.
All right. Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome.
All right. Later, bud.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, guys. So let me see here. I'm going to try to get this thing to work here. I don't know why my cam quit working. Let me see if I can pop out and pop back in real quick. Okay, guys, sorry about that. I don't know what in the world was going on with this computer, but we got it fixed now and we're back. So, okay, guys, sorry about that. I don't know what in the world on the phone. All right, so anyhow, I need to get you guys next week's stuff. So next week on July 25th, we got Timber Creek Farmer coming on. August 1st, we got Enoch Graham, the Urban Gardener, coming on. August 8th, we got Acorn Creek Farmstead. August 15th is Tony from Wakefield Biochar. August 22nd is Ange Fierro Fanning Homestead. August 29th is Jesus Loving Homestead. September 5th, Nicole Smith Gardening. September 12th, Chase from Trophy Smack. September 19th is Sandy from Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. September 26th will be me, Randall, and Travis back on again to talk to you about the end of the season. October 3rd will be Yogi Hollow Farm. And then October 10th through December 26th is all open. So if any of you guys would want to come in and do a live stream, be sure to email me, babydrill2119@yahoo.com, and you guys can get on the show. So let's see. Yeah, I do use Jack's fertilizer. I do use Jack's. So they're pretty good fertilizers. I especially like their calcium nitrate. I use quite a bit of that. I have used some of their other stuff, but mainly just calcium nitrate is what I use from Jack's. It works, and it's pretty affordable. Right now, you're going to have a hard time getting it because they don't even have it, so you have to find it somewhere else. Oh, hush. Okay, we got that done. So, anyhow, guys, if there's any questions about giant pumpkin growing, you can ask me now or ask in comments later on if the video's off. I'd be more than happy to answer them. I can tell you anything that I'm feeding and all that stuff right now if you would like to know. Basically, the only thing I'm doing is, like I said, I'm hammering them with a lot of Azos, Mycos, Versity, compost teas, doing a lot of that stuff, using the Aero mixer to do it with. And then I do fertilize like once here and there. Maybe. No, it's not like Master Blend. At least not what I use. Well, I mean, I guess the calcium nitrate is like Master. Would you hush? Keep hitting this stupid button. I guess the calcium nitrate is probably like the Master Blend stuff. I think they got calcium nitrates 15.500, I think. But anyhow, I've been using, like I said, the compost teas and the Azos Mycos and Versity. We've been using some of the Native Earth stuff. It's pretty good. Has some really good results with it so far. Everything's looking good. Everything's doing good. It's not doing great, but it's doing good considering the season that we've had. We've had very, very cold season here. And so, like I was talking to Randall earlier today and Travis earlier today, I was telling them, it's been very, very cold here. Unseasonably cool, especially June. June was like, is it even summer yet? Is this still springtime? Like, is summer coming at all? To which it has not really came. I mean, we get warm days, but nights are still very, very cool, just like Travis was saying. And so that does hinder the plants. It hinders the growth. It helps my root crops grow, which is great because it extends my root crop growing season, which means I can get bigger root crops. But I mean, it's not doing. I probably will not have a long gourd this year because they don't like the cool temps. They're not doing jack. Probably won't have a watermelon this year. they're not feeling it either. They're just like maybe that long. They just won't grow. They will not grow. And I had the perfect soil for growing a giant watermelon. High phosphorus, high with the organic matter, and it will not grow. It's just too cold. So the temps are just too cold at night, or something. So I mean, will they grow? Are people growing them? Yeah, some other people are, but I'm just not putting a lot of effort into it. If they're going to grow, they're going to grow. If they're not, I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, please, come on, please grow for me, and no, I'm not doing that. No. If they're going to grow, take off like a rocket and grow. I'm not going to sit there and pamper you. I ain't got all day. So, and then we had the sunflower deal. I don't know what happened there. I went out there. You guys seen the video. I planted all these sunflowers in my little area there in those 4x4s or 5x5 areas up there in the front yard where the cross-shaped or plus-shaped raised bed is. And they, like, you can see where some of the rows up in the top, they were like, yeah, we'll start growing. And then they quit. And then some of the rows down the bottom, they didn't do anything. So, I mean, I'm planning to do an update video and show you guys that. Blew my mind because I'm sitting there going, well, any day now, they're just going to shoot right through that soil and take off like a rocket. They're not doing it. They're just not doing it. It's too cold. It is just too cold to get them to sprout. And the ones that did sprout up in the top, here's why I think they sprouted. The heat reflecting off of the raised bed was enough, because the ones that sprouted were the ones closest to the raised bed. All right. Everything further away from the raised bed didn't come up. So the only explanation I have for that is that the raised bed had radiant heat. The radiant heat kept the ground temperature warm enough during the day, or during the night rather, and allowed those seeds to continue to germinate and not shut down. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, it sucks. It's a sorry year. Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's just a sorry year. So I did plant some more in some of the smart pots. I did plant a few true giant sunflowers in some of those smart pots, but I don't have enough room to plant all what I wanted. So I guess I'm going to go back out there and try to replant some. It's just not going to be as pretty as I wanted it. It's basically going to be a bunch of other stuff, that I got and hope that, I don't know. It's just a weird year. And if you talk to everybody says it's just been a weird year. And it has been. It's been a very, very strange year to grow, and stuff's just acting very odd, just not wanting to really grow or do. And some things growing and other things not. And you're like, oh, it's in the same soil. I don't know. So hopefully the rest of the season will go well. I will tell y'all this. If you're here for giant pumpkins are on this channel. They're not a thing of the past. Okay. We're still going to grow them. We're still going to have fun with them, but they are a thing of the past. We are gearing more towards the homesteading life and everything that encompasses. We'll still show giant pumpkins. We'll still have fun growing them, all that stuff. It's just not going to be all giant pumpkins. All right. It's just not. They're like me and Travis were talking earlier. And I encourage every one of you guys that are doing the same thing. If you're growing these things and you're wanting to, you're looking at it like, why am I doing this? You probably should be asking yourself, why are you doing it? Because they're fun. They're, whatever. But let me just put this out to you. For all the work you do, for all the late nights, the early mornings, the stress, the anxiety, the, going out there and checking on them all hours of the day and night, all the time you miss with your kids and your family, all the fun you could have had that you should have had in the summertime, going to the lake fishing, going on a boat, doing whatever, right? Having fun with your family, making memories, and you spend it in the patch to grow a stupid pumpkin. All right. And here's the kicker. It would be different if the collective of giant pumpkin growing was more fun. It would be different if the collective of individuals, if the group of individuals were a more sincere group of individuals who really did legitimately care about one another, and all that, and had fun and everything. But it's not. It's not that way. It's more of this. I need to spy on somebody, so I need to get close to them to figure out what they got, or I need to manipulate somebody so that I can, get get in position to do this or that or whatever. It's more of that than anything, and it really, is it worth all that at the end of the day? Nah, it's not. It's not worth all the stress and the anxiety and the bull crap and everything you go through to think that you're, having fun, right? And something that is just, it's not fun. It's not fun. It's fun to grow them. It's fun to play and have fun and growing them. That aspect of it is fun. It's the other part of it that's not fun. The competitive side that is not fun. And so I've learned that, and that's why I'm shifting away from it, and getting away from it and going more towards just doing the homesteading stuff, because that's what our channel is called, Heavenly Hills Homestead. And so that's where it's at. It's about homesteading. It's about teaching the kids how to grow, how to have fun, how to homestead, and live off the land. And so giants will always be grown here. We'll always grow them here, but we're not going to glorify them, I guess you could say, or post about them all the time as much, because it's just not worth it, And why would I? Here's the other part too. Why would I want to push a hobby to new growers? Now, the hobby is fun. The hobby of growing is fun. The competitive part of the hobby sucks. All right. So why would I want to push people to be competitive? I can push you to grow giants and have fun with it. That I can do. Okay. And it is fun, but I won't push the competitive side of it anymore on this channel, because that side is truly a sorry side of it. So there it is. So that's why, if you've been wondering why there's not been a lot of it on here, that's why. It's just I'm not pushing it. I'm not going to promote it. I'm not going to waste my time on it. And it is what it is. I'll grow my giants. I'll have fun growing them. I'll promote growing giants and having fun doing it with the family and stuff. But we're done with the competitive stuff, Hey, Regina, how you doing? So, yeah, Robert, I like growing the other stuff too. It's all of it's fun. I love doing all of it. That happens a lot, Eric. That happens a lot. A lot of people buy giant seeds and they end up being something else, man. That's why I'm not trying to promote myself here, but I highly encourage you, if you need seeds, get them off of me, because I know what I got. I know what I'm growing, and I know what I'm doing. I know when I cross two of them together, if I tell you it's that, you can take it to the bank that is exactly what I sold you. All right. So, that's something I like. I take pride in. I take pride in knowing that if I sell you seeds, you're getting exactly what you paid for. I'm going to shoot this daggone incubator if it beeps one more time. But yeah, so guys, I really appreciate all you guys watching and all the support you guys have been giving us. Guys, we're up to 1,800 subscribers. 1,800. I told you guys, if we hit 2,000, we'll do another big giveaway. Let's get to 2,000 subs, guys. Let's share these videos. Let's try to get the word out. If we'll hit 2,000 subs, we will definitely do another big giveaway for some really cool items and stuff, guys. I'm a man of my word. I told you I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So, guys, let's try to get us up to 2,000. If you don't mind, share the videos, like the videos. That all helps. All right. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. We're going to do all kinds of cool stuff. Got a lot of different interesting things coming up. Once the growing season is over, we're going to start doing some cool stuff around here. We're going to start building the homestead more. We're going to start doing some more outdoor adventures. Okay. Rather that be hunting, trapping, whatever. We're going to do some more things. I think we're also going to start doing some reviews on some camping gear, maybe do some camping videos and stuff like that. Maybe even do some survival gears, kind of take you guys back, go break out my old Ranger's journal or Ranger's handbook rather, and pull that thing out and take you guys out with me and just go on through that and get you guys some survival training, some fun stuff. So we'll see what we can come up with. I'm sure we can come up with something to fill that void. Don't know if I'll grow anything this winter. If I do, be just little stuff playing around in the house with. All right, awesome, Eric, awesome. But yeah, man, really, guys, I really do love each and every one of you guys that support us and come on and watch us and comment and like and share. It really does mean a lot to us here. So as soon as we hit 2,000, we're going to well, if you want to watch that preaching, that's going to have to stay on my Facebook. I try my best. Now, it's not that I'm ashamed of it, because I'm never ashamed of God, but I do try my best to keep the preaching to a minimum. I always profess Christ, and I'll always talk about that on the channel, but I do try to keep the preaching away from the channel, because there's so many different views and so many different denominations and things like that I don't want to cause any conflict on the channel itself. So I try to keep that to a minimum on here. But yeah, I mean, I always put it up there on Facebook and stuff. So if you want to watch it, it's definitely on Facebook. If you want to share that off Facebook, you can. But yeah, I try to keep that off of here. I've had other people ask that same question if I put my preaching up here on YouTube, and like I said, there's just so many different denominations and stuff like that. I just know that it is a fight waiting to happen. There would be some people that be like, oh, well, I heard that, just for an example, let's say I said Adam had a belly button. Well, there would be somebody who said Adam didn't have a belly button, and they would want to argue about it. And so instead of arguing it, and taking so much time and energy to argue a point and stuff, I just try to keep that off of here. Now, if somebody wanted to argue about Christ being real or not, now, that's easy. Yes, he's real, and yes, he's coming back. And if you don't believe it, that's fine. That's your opinion. If they continued on, I just hit the delete button or the block button or whatever and bounce them out of here. But nevertheless, that's why I don't put preaching up here on YouTube. So yeah, but you're more than welcome to watch it on Facebook if you want to. You're more than welcome to share it off of Facebook if you want to, and I appreciate it. But yeah, we'll just keep that to a minimum. That's another reason why I don't do a lot of political stuff either. It's not that I don't have my views and my points and believe what I believe to a absolute, but I just don't want the divisiveness. I really want this channel to be a channel where people can come together and be themselves and have fun and enjoy one another, no matter what they believe. You know what I mean? And hopefully through watching the channel and stuff, maybe some of them may decide to come to Christ, but I never want to shove that down, be dogmatic and stuff, on the channel. So, but yeah, so guys, I'm going to bounce out of here, and I'm going to I think there's a storm coming, so a nice thunderstorm. That'll be good. I was outside weeding all day. The weeds got rather large. They were large, and never seen such such large weeds in my life. Never. So we're gonna have to take care of them large weeds, and that's what we were doing today. And we only got one patch done. I've been doing a pumpkin plant a day, and today I did 3 of them. Yeah, that was not fun. And then I did the corn patch, which you guys didn't get an update about that. And I'll just go ahead and tell you, the corn that we planted out in front of the apple tree to the side of the garden there, that real big one that I double row planted, the geese got out and decided that the corn would be a rather tasty snack. And so they ate them, and then the corn grew back, and then the geese got out and ate them again. And now the geese are in the freezer. Eat my corn, I eat you. It should be fair, right? Right? No, I'm kidding. The geese ain't in the freezer because Annie wouldn't let me kill them. I wanted to kill them. I was prepared to kill them, but she wouldn't let me do it. So I had to give way to her wishes and not act upon my instinct to kill something that killed my plants. So they got a chance to live. Yeah, right. Circle of life. Yeah. She wins every once in a while, but don't think she wins all the time, because eventually those geese will die. So she might win the battle, but I always win the war. So I just bide my time. Coyote, fox, bobcat, owl, something grabs them, snatches them, takes them away. I don't know. Or they end up in the freezer. So, but no, seriously, something did get 2 of the ducks. We think it's a fox, so I've been trying to hunt that and get that taken care of. But the weeds were really bad, and so we got to take care of that. And then I'm gonna try to plant some popcorn in that spot now. I mean, popcorn's better than nothing, I guess. So I got some strawberry popcorn. I guess I'm just going to try to grow that and see if we can't get some strawberry popcorn to grow and get that out of there. I mean, might as well. But you know, everything's looking pretty good. I'll try to get you guys an update as soon as everything's weeded. I mean, it was bad, guys. There was no weeds. It rained, and then there was weeds. And I mean, like weeds that just grew overnight. And I've never, ever. I mean, me and her was just talking about this today. I said, I've never had a weed problem like this, ever. There's never been a time where I had to literally stay on top of the weeds. I could go 2-3 weeks between weeding and be just fine. I've never had to continuously stay on top of the weeds. And so she made a good observation. She said, your soil has also never been so balanced and right. I guess not. So maybe if you get a lot of weeds growing and they're growing just as fast as your plants or faster, maybe you have got some really good soil, because I'm telling you now, I have never, ever had to weed every day or every other day or even once a week. I've never had to do that here. I have been able to go 2 to 3 weeks in between weeding and weed them all within a day or two, everything, and be just fine. So not sure where the weeds came from, not sure where the weed seed pressure came from. Some of it's stuff that we grown in the garden and it's just coming up. So tomatillos, spoon tomatoes, all kinds of other crap. But then there is a lot of purslane and some other things that I'm not sure what it is. It's just a lot of it. And so, but I've never had to really I've never had to weed like that here, ever. I've always been able to just till it and walk away, plant, and pick weeds here and or there. It's never been an issue. So we're definitely getting slammed with weeds this year. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's something I did, something I put in. Now I do know that the one compost I put in that I got off my buddy, that compost was full of weed seed pressure. It had the gypsum in it. It had that other two things in it, the things with all the thorns on it and the other stuff that we don't know what it was. But even he don't know where that came from because he put the same compost on his stuff and he's polluted with it too. So he don't know where it came from. I don't know where it came from. I'm not sure where the purslane came from, but there's a buttload of it. I picked over 1,000 pounds of that. I swear. You think I'm lying. You think I'm lying, but I promise you there was over 1,000 pounds of purslane here. I picked the entire front of the house full of it over where the squash were. I picked the entire back, the whole back from the blue trailer, that the neighbor's blue trailer on that end, all the way over to the goats, and the whole width of it full of purslane. Where did it come from? I don't know. So, yeah, I'd rather deal with morning glories, Eric, than this purslane and this other crap. I don't know where this crap come from. And then there's something out there. I think I know where it might have come from. It kind of looks like the stuff in the hay field. So I feed my goats that hay. I feed my pigs that hay. I feed my chickens that hay. I also let them bed in that hay. I feed the rabbits that hay. So if there was any seeds in that hay from that weed that I don't know what the name of it is, and I put that stuff on my beds and stuff, that might be where that come from. But my God, it's like that's all I fed them. I mean, it ain't like I fed them any hay. It's like I fed them all this weed stuff. I mean, because it's so thick. I'll get a picture of it tomorrow and post it up on my community tab and on Instagram so you guys can see it. It is thick and full, and I'm like, what the heck is this? I'll also get you the last strip of purslane. I'll get you a picture of that too before I pull all the rest of it up so you guys can see it. Yeah, purslane's great, but the problem with purslane, I mean, you can eat it. It's great for that. But when you got it in this kind of abundance, it's just, it'll drive you nuts. The pumpkin vines were laying on top of it a foot off the ground and could not lay down to get contact with the ground. And they had tap roots stretching through the purslane, going and touching the ground and going into the ground. Kid you not. So I was just like, okay, I was going to cut lanes in the purslane and then put the vines down. And I just, no, we ain't doing all that. I'm just yanking and pulling. Get that crap out of here. But it grows off of the rhizome too. So, I mean, it's never going to go anywhere. I mean, unless you get it out, it's not going anywhere. So maybe this fall, what I might do is go through plant cover crop, get it up, get it going, get it, good and tall, cut it, cover it all with a clear plastic tarp, and bake the crap out of the soil. I'll kill all the biologics in it, but I'll also kill all the weed seed and every other deathly thing that's under there, bugs and disease. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do next, is just start killing stuff. It does do that. It keeps the soil moist. It does keep the soil moist. I mean, you don't have any problems with it holding water retention. In fact, I tried to mow some of it, and it got so slippery and wet that I couldn't mow anymore. Like it was bad. So yeah, it would definitely help. They're not sucking up. The reason why I was going to keep them there is because they wasn't sucking nutrients or water away from the plants. And because that, so I was like, okay, well, they're not harming the plants. They're just here. But when the pumpkin vines are riding up a foot above and they can just continue to grow, it's kind of there's no good way to control them. It would be better if they grew like, what's that stuff called? Sparge or something like that. It kind of looks like purslane a little bit. Spurge, I think is what it's called. But it's don't eat spurge. That's definitely. But anyways, spurge just kind of lays flat on the ground and grows, right? If purslane just laid flat on the ground and grew, that'd be great. But it wants to lay flat on the ground and grow, and then turn up and come up, and it picks them pumpkin vines up and up off the ground and stuff. But yeah, it would definitely it definitely holds a lot of moisture in the ground for sure. And it's very easy to pull. I mean, you just got there and pull it. So I would rather pull purslane than actual weeds or grass. That sucks, but purslane's easier to deal with for sure. But it's still a nuisance when it gets to where it wants to push up on everything. So anyhow, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here and go and check on my watering, because I had to turn on the water and water the plants and stuff. So I'm going to make sure that those got watered. Now it's going to rain, so no sense in watering today. But anyhow, we'll be back on next Tuesday with Timber Creek Farms, and we'll continue on with our stuff, our videos and things, and our live streams every Tuesday. I'm thinking about moving to doing 3 podcasts a week come the first of the year. We're looking at doing three a week. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays will be podcast days. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday will be video release days. So we're looking at that. Ain't doing it yet, but we're looking at it. So guys, we'll see what comes up next. All right. But guys, appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next time right here in the Hollers and Hills of West Virginia. Have a good night, y'all. See ya.